Michael, we appreciate you joining us. What's been up, man? How you doing? How you holding up through this time?
I'm doing pretty good. I mean, just trying to maintain and keep living. That's the biggest thing right now. With what's going on with the coronavirus. You can't see it. So you just gotta try to live life and try to stay out the way of that virus and at the same time maintain.
Yeah, absolutely. What's what have you found any new shows to watch? Have you jumped on Netflix? I mean, what's you're obviously working out here, man. What's been your go-to activity through all this?
I pretty much watched every episode of any episode on Netflix so far. Started watching some shows on Apple TV. Just trying to keep just trying to keep afloat, man. And I mean, it's tough when you watch everything and then you anticipate something else coming on and you thumb through a couple of shows and you watch them repeat. So cable TV is probably the best you can get, besides watching movies over right now.
Yeah, my wife usually knows when I get home from work because then she'll hear the music to The Office starting up because that's what I watch every time I go to bed.
Oh, well, Michael, did you get the chance to check out the draft yesterday? I mean, obviously, you get all these quarterbacks coming off the board. Quarterback positions change so much. Chiefs are sitting here with Patrick Mahomes, so not all that bad for the Chiefs with the luxury of just taking best available. Clyde Edwards-Helaire to the Chiefs. What'd you think of the draft yesterday?
I think so far it's been pretty good. I mean, there was a couple of receivers who thought they would go a little bit higher than what they went in the draft, but overall, I guess the top four were I don't want to say automatic, but it kind of seemed like they were automatic. Top four, top five. But with the Chiefs getting a running back, it's going to be a plus for them. That guy from LSU, he's a monster. I mean, he showed what he can do throughout the course of the year. And the best thing that a lot of people may not notice is that I think he didn't have over 400 carries. So he's fresh, he's young, he's hungry. I can't really say it'd be a change of pace because, the pace for Kansas City is fast. So, he's a fast guy now. Hopefully he can come in and do what he's asked to do and hopefully, back-to-back champions.
Yeah, absolutely, Michael. Let's take us back to your time at Kansas State. I'm here in Missouri. So here in Columbia, I was there in 1998, clash of the Tigers and the Kansas State Wildcats. What a career it was for you at Kansas State. I mean, taking that program to new heights. It had been started by Bill Snyder, but 1998, you guys get to number one in the nation, and you get there by winning that that game against Missouri. Just kind of take us back to that magical season and kind of what that was like for you, coming from a junior college, and you ascend your way to the top of the college football landscape.
I mean, it's when I look back and I reflect on it, it's a great feeling. It's a great environment. My two seasons at K-State were, memorable seasons because not only what we did on the field, but the guys in the locker room, the character of the team. I was blessed to be around some great teammates. I was blessed to be around some great athletes. But when it all came down to it, I was glad I was around some great human beings. Coaching staff, faculty at K-State, K-State fans. Everything was like magical, for me when I was there. But of course, you want to win the big game, and we came in and we beat Missouri. Missouri was tough. A lot of people didn't give Missouri credit, but the things Corby Jones was able to do with that offense, the defense they played, the special teams they played, it was tough. We ended up beating them, but it wasn't a blowout like we had been, accustomed to beating some of the other Big 12 teams. They played us well, and we was fortunate enough to score more points than them that day, and put us up to being in a situation where we can play for the Big 12 championship.
Well, Michael, talk to us about your time at K-State, playing for Coach Bill Snyder, and Mike Stoops and Brent Venables were on that coaching staff as well.
Yeah, I mean, when you go back and look at it, I mean, we had some tremendous coaches. Coaches as far as Venables that have went on to win, championships, and he's had a great career after leaving K-State, going to OU, then Clemson. But Mike Stoops, same thing. Those guys love football. They had the energy that I think every every young guy needs to have when you learn to play football. Those guys wasn't playing a down of football when I was there, but pregame, during the course of the game, their energy was so live that they kept those guys ready to play on the defense side of the ball. And you can't do anything but respect that. So, and I had to respect it because the defense did a great job of, getting K-State offense back on the field, along with the special teams. So when you have great guys like that, you can only get better, and you want to reach the peak where you want to go out there, and you want to lay it on the line because those guys' intensity, those guys, they love the game, even though they know they couldn't go out there and play, at the level that we was playing, but they love the game, so they did their parts, and they had, all the players that they coached, they had them ready to play every weekend.
Hey, Michael, back in '98, as an eighth grader, you had me in tears, man. I'm going to tell you that right now. You guys finally beat my Huskers. Now, now, was that kind of like the game for you guys that, we got to get this off our back? It's been too long, and we finally want to be the ones to do it. The build-up for that week, I can imagine, was just intense. But did you guys approach it as this is just another game, or like this one actually, we got to get this one?
Well, I know for me, my first game ever losing in college football was against Nebraska in Lincoln. They beat us, I think, 56-21, and that was my first time, feeling defeat. So I was hungry. I was starving. I wanted another opportunity to go against the black shirts. I can't take anything away from them. They were a great football team. They had great players. They probably had great players, 5 and 6 deep, on the depth chart. And so when you have an opportunity to play against a team that has that much talent and you don't come out on top, it leaves a sour taste in your mouth. So for a full year, I had a sour taste in my mouth and was eager to get another opportunity to play against them. But for me, in the same sense, it was the next game on the schedule. And, it was the biggest game on the schedule for K-State fans, for K-State coaching staff, because they had been in a slump against Nebraska for so long. But, for me, when that final second ran off the clock and, we won 40-30, for me, I took a deep breath and I said to myself, and I had mentioned this before, never twice. And, I said that I couldn't let the same team come back and get me again. And I took that to heart. But at the end of the day, like I say, 29 years, it was big for K-State, big for the state of Kansas, because for so long, it wasn't a contest when you looked across the sideline and you seen, the big red, the black shirts, the great offense, the great running backs, the great DBs, the great linebackers, the big linemen, the strong defensive linemen. It was intimidating for a long time, but I was glad that I was a part of the team and it had a major impact on finally getting over that hill.
Yeah. Kind of something that I thought was interesting, and I feel like you may have been one of the guys that may have helped pave the way for the way the quarterback position is now played in college football. And the year before, you guys played Syracuse in the Fiesta Bowl, and, they had Donovan McNabb there, another guy that you could throw and run. As you look back, do you see how things kind of shifted, and maybe based on your play, or do you think it was just a matter of time? It didn't matter who was there as far as the quarterback position was concerned.
You know what I mean? I've been asked that question a lot, and the more I think about it, it's kind of frustrating, to be honest, because the things that myself was doing back then, and the things that McNabb was doing, the things that any mobile quarterback that can run and throw was doing, for college, the fans loved it, the teammates loved it, but at that time they really wasn't taking, players that can do both, at the next level. So when I think about myself, and then I look at, some of the things that, Mike Vick, Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson, Menzel, even Tim Tebow, some of the things that they were doing, and then they was, it was celebrated. They got opportunity to go to the next level, and they had an opportunity to play and to continue to do what they had been doing, in college. For me, sometimes I think about it, and I always, wonder if I had got a full shot, what would be the outcome. And, I trust my talents. I trust myself every time I line up to play football. So sometimes I feel I guess as we say as athletes, sometimes I get in my feelings because, I just wish I had opportunity to showcase what I can do at the next level. And I'm so proud of these guys that's going in, even in the draft this year. The guys that can run and throw, they're getting opportunities. They're getting opportunities to go and play football. And at the end of the day, that's what it's about. So my hats off to those guys, and the guys that's doing it well and winning. I wish nothing but success to those guys. And, right there in Kansas City, got a guy that can run and throw. He might not be the fastest guy, but he can run and throw. He can make throws on the run. And, we've seen it week in and week out, with Kansas City, and sometimes on the play bus, and he, makes a guy miss, and all of a sudden, he found Tyreek Hill for 80, 90 yards. So, it's great to see, but when I look at it, I feel that, I had a major part of, being able to set up for the future for these guys to get that opportunity.
Michael, did you think about the way that season ended? I mean, you guys get to number one. There was some shuffling at the top. I think UCLA had fallen in that final week, and you go into the Big 12 championship game against Texas A&M. Number one, need to get that win to go play for the national championship, and you run up against Sir Parker, Dat Win, Dante Hall, a really solid Texas A&M team. Obviously, a disappointing finish to that season, but just take us kind of through that and what that experience was like, and kind of maybe how personally you maybe grew from that, because it's something that you're in that position on that one occasion, and national title on the line. It didn't happen, but what a memorable season, and that you can't ever take that away, of course.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, all the great things we did that season, you can't take it away. So some of the great players we had on the team, some of the history, it'll always be in the history books as far as K-State football. And I think we were one of the best teams ever played at K-State, but we fall short against Texas A&M. My opinion, Texas A&M couldn't. They shouldn't even been in the game with us like that. But for the first time in my career at K-State, I feel like we took our foot off the gas, and I think if we keep our foot on the gas, we scored 50 points against A&M. They really couldn't stop us. We hurt ourselves towards the end. But at the same time, we shouldn't even been in that situation. As far as me, moving forward from that, you win some, you lose some. I had been accustomed to winning so much. So when we lost that big game, I still thought we had a chance to get for the national title because we were 12-1. But then I quickly realized, when they took Florida State and Tennessee, number one, we would have beat both of those teams. No doubt about it, in my opinion. But even if we were 13-0, I don't think that they would let us play for the national title because K-State really didn't have any respect across the board. Besides the Big 12, we didn't have any respect outside of the Big 12. So when you take a Florida State team who were 9-2, I believe at the time, to play against a 12-0 team, who's to say if we beat A&M with 13-0, do they still give us a shot to play for it? Did they look at Florida State and the tradition, the winning tradition? They've been in championship games before. Did they look at Florida State bringing a crowd? I have no idea, but I know that at 12-1, we still deserve to play for it all, and we didn't get that opportunity. So that sticks out of my mind more than anything, because I still can't figure out how you take a 9-2 team versus a 12-1 team. But who knows? I didn't get to make that call.
Yeah, and then you guys go down and you play against Purdue in the Alamo Bowl. And at the time, I don't think a whole lot of people really knew who Drew Brees was. And, it's kind of his little coming out party, playing against guys like Drew Brees and, Donovan McNabb. What was it like being on the field with them and watching them, respectfully at their craft as opposed to yours?
Well, you know what? I have to say that, at the end of the day, I think, I have all respect for our defense at K-State, and I think our defense did a great job. Every once in a while, they might have missed a tackle here and there, and it may go for a touchdown or try to get an interception, and the guy makes a great catch or whatnot. But even to this day, I'll take my defense versus any defense, any offense in the nation if we go back in time. But playing against Drew Brees, who knew that he would be the guy that he is today, even with McNabb, his career. Because I've seen our defense, shut them down in the past, but I've also watched both those guys make some great plays at the next level. So my hat goes off to those guys. You have to do nothing but respect those guys because just like us, they had a dream, they had a vision, and they were able to capitalize on their vision, on their dream. And both those guys, Drew's still playing, but even McNabb had a great career. got the chance to play for the Super Bowl. Won the division titles a couple of times. So, those guys still did their thing. So I respect both those guys to this day.
I think it's I think it's kind of coincidental that we get the opportunity to talk to you today with the whole NFL draft thing. So when you got drafted by the New England Patriots, what kind of feeling did that give you? I mean, were you excited about where you were going? Were you because you were going to be underneath Drew Bledsoe, who I was always a big fan of growing up. I thought Drew Bledsoe was going to be the next Dan Marino and everything like that. So what was it like learning underneath him and your overall feeling?
When I first got the call, from New England, I was excited because, growing up, all you want, if you're an athlete and you play football, all you want is opportunity to get to the biggest stage ever in football. That's the NFL. So when I got a call and they told me they was going to draft me, I went 7th round. I was really looking forward to hopefully mid-second, if anything. But to get the opportunity, and it came in the 7th round, I didn't let that bother me because I still knew that you still got to go in there, you still got to play ball. It doesn't matter where you get drafted at, and that's been proven throughout the history of the game. So that really didn't bother me. But when I got there, I realized that my style of play and his style of play was totally different. They were more of a drop back system, but I didn't have a problem dropping back, throwing the ball downfield. I can make every throw on the field. I just had an opportunity to learn from him. And my first year went 5-11, and I got to see the good and the bad. Drew, I got to see him, throw 4 picks and see how he handled himself, and throw 4 touchdowns, see how he handled himself, and I got to experience the whole thing, man, and I was grateful for that. But at the same time, hindsight 2020, if I go to another team that was able to use me and play to my strengths, I think it would have been a better outcome for me. But in all, I'm still thankful that I had an opportunity. They gave me an opportunity to be at the next level.
Yeah. Touching on something earlier, you had mentioned, about how you look at the quarterback position and how it's evolved, nowadays and everything like that. So we all know that the NCAA is looking to pass on the likeliness of for the athletes to get paid. How do you feel about that? I mean, is it kind of still almost like you guys didn't get that opportunity? Do you think it's good for the landscape of athletics in college, or is that something that you think that should have been implemented a long time ago?
Well, I'm jokingly saying this, but if they're going to pay athletes, then they got to go back and pay everybody. I mean, because I left blood, sweat, and tears on the field just as much as these guys are doing today in today's game. So, but at the bigger part of it, you put in so much work. Granted, you're on a full scholarship or partial scholarship, whatever it may be. But when you think about it, you go to these bowl games, and you the schools make so much money off athletes, with jerseys, all kind of things during the course of a game. The fans, it's not free to come to these games, so the school is definitely making money off it. So I'm in agreement. I think that I don't care if you're a walk-on, if you're six string on a depth chart. If you're a part of that program, I think you should be paid as well. For the guys who excel and the marquee guys on each team, maybe they should get a little bit more. But if you're going to pay, I think everybody that puts on a uniform on a Saturday, whether it's rowing, tennis, soccer, whatever it may be, if you're out there and you're making money for the school, I think at some capacity you deserve to be paid back.
Yeah. So I caught an article out of the Wichita Eagle back in January, and something that I just had no idea about, and it said something in the terms of you had a little bit of a health mishap as far as like a stroke was concerned.
Yes.
How is that all coming about? I mean, is the recovery going well? I mean, you improving and things like that?
Well, I've been a fighter all my life, so and in the earlier interviews, I said that this was something that I didn't have a game plan for. I didn't have a strategy of how to attack this, so I was blindsided with it. So I ended up having a blood clot behind my left ear, and ended up having a stroke because of that. And I spent 15 days in the hospital. In those 15 days, I was able to reflect and just look at life, and a lot of things we take for granted. Once you sit in the hospital and you can't do anything, a lot of things go through your mind. A lot of thoughts, good and bad, come through your mind. But for me, I had to lay in that bed and just find a way to fight. Doctors came in, they were taking my blood. They was talking to me about all these medical terms, telling me what they found and how bad it was and how it could have been. So my whole thing is I kept praying and I kept praying every day, and I would get up every morning. I would look out the window, and I was trying to figure out. A lot of times you say, "Why me?" But now that I look back at it, it's eye opening because I feel like I was in great shape. I was moving good prior to this, and all of a sudden, we don't know the reason why, but sometimes God will slow you down, and I think God just basically slowed me down, and even in recovery, I was doing rehab twice a day before all this COVID-19 started. So, but now, the bright side of it is, I could have been dead, sleeping in my grave, but I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad I'm able to talk. I'm glad I'm able to see things. A lot of people. I tell you what's so crazy about it. When I was in the hospital, I was the youngest one there on the stroke floor, and I would hear some of the older people there, and they were moaning, they was crying. I know they was in so much pain, and I was in pain, but I wasn't letting it bother me. I was sitting there with all these IVs in me, and they kept coming and giving me different medications. They kept doing CAT scans and all these different things, and when they was wheeling me out to go in my bed to go do a CAT scan, I happened to glance in and I looked at some of the other patients, and I felt real bad because I was asking myself, you're only 43, and that guy's he looks 85, 75 or whatever, and I don't know if a couple times I came back from CAT scans and the rooms was cleaned out, and I was sitting in there and I kept hearing this, this cold blue. And so one of the nurses came in, and I didn't know at the time. I told her, I said, hey, I want to get one of these cold blues because every time cold blue comes, I see people coming and I see people getting out of here. And she was like, you don't want a cold blue. You're too young for a cold blue. So, to put it in perspective, my battle was a battle, but there was other people that was in that, men and women, they was fighting the battle much tougher than I was. And, it taught me a whole lot. And it taught me how to respect life, more than what I was respecting life. And I'm just so glad to be out of there, but at the same time, I've seen how serious it could have been. It's serious whenever you have, brain trauma. But for me, I'm just blessed that God saw fit for me to walk out of there. So I still, I'm still on medication. I'm still doing what the doctors tell me to do, and I'm taking it, slow. I'm taking it one day at a time. But some of those people that went through the same thing I went through, they didn't make it out of there. So that's on the flip side of it. So I just got to be careful and take it one day at a time, which is what I'm doing.
Well, as a competitor and at a position and that you played, I guess I shouldn't have had any doubts that you're gonna, keep on pushing through and getting this thing taken care of. Fourth quarter fitness, what's that all about?
So basically, fourth quarter fitness, I started in 2008. So basically, I have a lot of relatives that play football. I have a lot of friends who kids play football or play all sports. So it basically came up and I was having a conversation with one of my old teammates, and we were actually at a high school game. And I was like, these kids are they look real tired in the fourth quarter. So basically we just started having kids come out, and we call it fourth quarter fitness. You got to be in the best shape in the fourth quarter because a lot of things could happen. You can win or lose in the fourth quarter, and if you're tired, if you show you're tired, somebody's going to attack you. So that's where the fourth quarter fitness came in. Like who can be in the best shape in the fourth quarter? The team that's in the best shape in the fourth quarter, they're going to make those plays. So that's kind of where that came from.
Well, Michael, you come in 1999 to the New England Patriots. You're drafted there. Your head coach is Pete Carroll. But in 2000, Bill Belichick comes in. They draft Tom Brady. You guys go 5-11 that year. But what kind of sense did you get? Did you get any inkling on what the Patriots were destined for with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady and moving forward and all these 6 Super Bowls that they've won, 9 appearances?
Well, I mean, to be honest, you had no clue. I mean, because Drew was the guy there, and
Yeah.
you know, Drew was playing every snap. You know, we went 5-11. He played every snap. Um, I think a couple times I came in on third down situations, but he pretty much played 99% of the game. When I was there and they drafted Brady didn't really do anything. I mean, he was in street clothes. Well, New England Patriots sweats during the season. Even during practice, I was taking all the scout team reps, and he was basically on the sideline just watching. But he was always asking questions. And the one conversation me and Brady had, and we hung out a lot when I was there. But the one conversation we had, and we made a promise to each other that he knew I wanted to play, and of course Drew wasn't playing his best football, but he had just signed a $100 million contract. So
Yeah.
if you know football, you got to play the guy who you're paying. So it was tough to sit back and watch the team and not being on the winning side week in and week out. But it taught you a lot. But with me and Brady, we both made a pact to each other. And he told me, hey, if you ever get an opportunity to play, don't give it back. And I told him the same thing. If you get an opportunity, don't give it back. Not knowing that what the future holds, but he got opportunity when Drew took that big shot, and he got opportunity and he didn't give it back. Do you lose your position to an injury? It depends on what team you're on. It depends on who's the guy who's playing. And I take my hat off to Brady because he kept his promise and he didn't give it back. And with the right amount of talent around him, some of the things that he's great at today, he wasn't so great back then. So he's put in the work, and week in and week out, and everybody knows that he showed that he have the how he carries himself on the sideline. A lot of things that he's doing. A lot of quarterbacks try to do that same thing, but they quite can't do it like that. So like I said, I have much respect for him. He got opportunity. He made the best of it. A lot of people to this day when we talk about that, they always say, "Well, do you think they cheat? Do you think this? What about the balls not having enough air in it?" At the end of the day, you still got to go out there and play football. I don't care what goes on the sideline, what goes on in the locker room. You got to go out there and you got to play football. So my hat's off to them and the 6 championships that he's won. I will always have respect for him.
Well, just one last little thing, Michael. Just Tom Brady, 43-year-old quarterback now in Tampa Bay. How do you see that going at 43, going to a completely new place, learning a new system, new head coach? But it does have Rob Gronkowski there. His old buddy's coming to help him.
Well, what's so funny about it, man? Me and one of my brothers was talking last night, and we was trying to figure out how is Gronk going to fit in with Mike Evans. Mike Evans is a great receiver, but we all know, I'm from Galveston, Texas / Willis, so I'm from the same area that he's from. So we were just wondering, will they clash? Will Gronk get too many balls? We might get too many balls. You never know. So hopefully they can work that out. And but really, when it all break down, Tom and him having the age factor on him, can you still play? Absolutely. Can you stay healthy? Absolutely. Can the line protect you? It's a 50-50 shot. So, I wish him the best. Hopefully that, the Super Bowl's in Tampa, and hopefully anytime the Super Bowl's in your home stadium, you want to be in it. I just pray that, he stays healthy, because with the age limit and the amount of hits that you may take, you never know. So I want him to go out as a winner, and I don't want to see him go out with a career-ending injury as well. But 43 and still being able to do it, sky's the limit. That's if I had the opportunity and I wasn't in the situation I'm in and I was 43, you can count on me still trying to suit up and still trying to play. So I understand the drive. I understand the will to want to win and to be great. But when you look at it from the outside looking in, some people would say, well, you got 6 championships, be satisfied with that. But his hunger wants number 7. And, health-wise, he stays healthy, and everybody that they're bringing in stays healthy, and they stay together, he could have a 7th championship.
Yep, it is going to remain to be seen. It's going to be interesting. Michael, I tell you what, can't thank you enough for hopping on with us today and chatting with us. I know for most of us that are in here, you've delivered a knife or a dagger or two to our hearts. And it's just great that all these years later, we can all be friends. I mean, it's wonderful to talk to you. Your career was amazing, man. And watching from afar, it was truly a pleasure watching you play at Kansas State and beyond. So we appreciate you joining us, man. We'll have to catch up for sure and keep it up, keep all the hard work coming. And we'll definitely have to catch up for sure, my friend.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you guys having me on, man. And you know, you can contact me anytime, whatever it may be. You know, I'm definitely good to go with it.
Hey, that's awesome. Thank you so much, Michael. We appreciate it.
It was an honor,
Yes,
my
sir.
friend.
Appreciate
Thanks.
you.
Thanks.
Yes, sir.